haven't touched my book in like a month. So we're hopping back into it. This book, for those who don't know, is the official first draft. I'm handwriting it just because I can do this in more places than I can typing it out, aka during the lull portions of work, I could just whip this out and write a little bit compared to having to type it out on a Google Drive on my phone, which I can do. I have written 15-page papers on my phone, but like, I'd rather not do that if I don't have to. So I'm not going to. Boom. The rule for this book is just get it down. Don't gotta be spelt right, don't gotta make sense. Doesn't even have to be a fully completed idea. It just needs to be written down. I have a draft 1.5 on my computer, which is me translating this nonsense into a more cohesive first draft, which is why I call it my draft and a half. That will be the one that I use when I go back to edit and whatnot, not this. So yeah. I still haven't thought of a name for this book, which is fine. You don't need a name until it's finished and ready to be published. That's when you need a name. For the newcomers, because there are a few new people here, which is very exciting. Hi. This is about a woman, a grown lady, who's basically at a bit of a crossroads. She's not doing well. Like, the only place that she's happy is at work, and she can't stay at work forever. She needs constant reminders just to do basic human things. This is one of those drawing from experience things, because that's how I was for a long time. So, you know, write what you know, but writing what I know. And and she has basically the two happy places that she has is this cottage in the woods and her work. And she can't be at work all the time, and she can't be at the cottage all the time. In fact, she rarely goes to the cottage until now, where there's a little bit of magic. A little bit of magic. So yeah, that's not a good explanation, so let me try that again. I'm gonna leave my attempt though, because that's just how I talk. I'm sorry. But basically Naomi, which is the current name of the character, because the character changes with her names. She's been through quite a few names already. So she's been through quite a few characterizations. The one on version 1 is Naomi. Well, attempt 6 of version 1, I should say. So, yeah. It's named Naomi. Naomi is depressed. Like, deep in that depression. She's excitable and happy and bubbly at work when she's working with the kids. That immediately goes in the drain to Albuquerque when she gets home, though. Like, she can barely make herself eat. Levels of, this is not okay. The only other place where she feels content and okay is this cottage in the woods that she bought, because this is a 30-year-old. The main character of the story is decidedly in her 30s. So she's old enough to have saved up to buy out an old property from the city that nobody wanted. So that is her other happy place. This cottage in the woods by the town that's technically within town borders, but nobody really gives a shit about it anymore. That she fixed up, got plumbing, did the whole 4-9 to make it into a livable space for herself, that she goes to when she can force herself to go outside, essentially. This little house is a house she used to play at when she was a kid, which is important because the next main character is the imaginary friend that is not so imaginary. So she would play with this person that she's pretty sure is either some older kid who felt bad or full on imaginary. It's probably a collection of older kids who felt bad for some of the less likely to be imaginary things, as well as an overactive imagination, to play around in this old cottage in the middle of the woods, not too far from the old school, because town has like the new town, but old town on the other side. Like the cottage is the midway point from new town and old town. Yeah. So she would get there from where she used to live in Old Town. Now she lives in New Town. Yeah. And whatnot. She used to play there all the time. Like there are books, stuffed animals, painting on the walls when they were younger. The whole nine. That was her happy place. And when she bought it, she was very happy that she can buy it and called hers and all that. In this place, there was an imaginary friend who wasn't actually imaginary, that she hasn't seen in decades at this point because she's a grown-ass adult with adult things to do, like a job and school and all that shit. So she just couldn't, they just never crossed paths until recently, where she starts going more often and things start happening. And that's the book. I'm still not great at explaining it, and I'm sorry, but it's better than my first attempt, so. Yeah. So, I just read through what I have written here for attempt number 6, and I feel like I should also read what I have on the Google Doc before I start writing too much. But, to go over it, we have the establishing intro, her excitingly getting the kids ready to go home, only to completely crash when she gets home herself and proceed to burrito for the entirety of the weekend, only to come back. An important thing will be like her reminders on her phone, which I'm thinking would be kind of cool that as the story progresses, the reminders change. Not because she's changing them, but because our mystery friend is changing them. Then again, I don't know if I want them to be able to interact with technology. I'm unsure, but we'll figure it out. So, sections, because these aren't really chapters, they're sections. In this book, there's sections, but like, yeah, I want to add hair stuff to it, and to like, who books are usually aimed towards. That's kind of weird. That makes no sense. Why specifically hair care? But for the melanated queens like myself, with textured hair. My hair is not afro textured, but it is still textured. Hair care is very important self-care, and I want to include it. I don't know how I'm going to include it, but I want to include it. So that's the pinpoint for me to include somewhere, somehow. It would be nice if someone did her hair for her. Because that's like ultimate bonding. Anyway. Ooh, actually. I should really get to writing. But like, I want there to be parallels between her in the woods, like her friend in the woods, and actual people. Because there's not a lot of characters in this book. So far, it's only three. There's only 3 characters in this book. and 2 of them are foils. So there's Naomi herself, our depressed being. Then there will be her friend, which I haven't decided, is this going to be like an older sibling that she talks to still, which doesn't really fit into my childhood narrative of her being, well, I guess if there's a very giant age gap, but like probably won't be a biological sibling. It could be like an older, like she was in elementary school, she was one of the high school students who would come by and see her running around the forest by her fucking self and be like, no. Maybe that one. Could be an old teacher. But I do want a stable, older, well, it doesn't have to be older, but like a stable friend character. Like someone else she has to talk to, because so far there's no dialogue. I'm on section 6 of this writing portion, chapter 4 in my like 1.5 draft, and there is no dialogue. There is 0 dialogue. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and add dialogue, because I'm not very good at adding dialogue. Is what I'm noticing, and because I went through, jumping from topic to topic, I went through my Wattpad stories. We all gotta start somewhere. And I noticed that there's not a lot of dialogue in those either. So that's a thing that I just don't write. I don't typically write dialogue, is what I'm noticing. So I gotta keep that in the mind palace. But I want her to have a grounding character outside of the forest. And then the actual, imaginary friend themselves. I have yet to decide if this is a malicious intent or not. I don't think it will be. Like, as of right now, I don't think there'll be any malicious intent. Like, Spirited Away, snatch. Like, I don't think that. I don't think that's where we're going with this one. Which is interesting, because the original intent was to have this be more like a horror thriller thing. And the imaginary friend is, like, not great. Like, and that type of thing. But, like, does it really have to be that way, though? Is what now I'm asking myself. Which I don't think so. I don't think it needs to be that way. But then again, then what's the point of the story? Like, what is the point of the story? What is the lesson here? Is what I gotta figure out as I'm going along. Because that determines the functionality of the imaginary friend. Because originally the idea was that it was dragging her further and further away from growing. Like, she's like, the more she's with this friend and she's in this woods and she's in this cottage, it's like a honey trap almost. Like, a honey trap. The goal is to trap Naomi in this little fantasy. And I still want that. Like, that is still the goal. The goal of this imaginary friend, which I still... Puck. We're gonna call him Puck for now. The goal of Puck is... which is actually... I had a friend named Puck, too. Who called himself Puck for a little while. Which is funny, because before I met them, there was a role play. This book is based off a role play that I realized I couldn't actually base off the role play, but it's based off the prompt of the role play, where the imaginary friend character, which is the name they used to call them, was revealed at the end as this big thing, was Puck. So we're gonna call them Puck for now. The goal of Puck is to acquire Naomi, to have back what it had before, essentially. Like, it wants its child back. Please and thank you. But what? But Naomi's not a child anymore. Sort of a deal. You get what I mean? I'm happy I'm saying this out loud because this is how I think. Trying to think silently doesn't work out for me, which is part of the reason why I have these videos, because I need someone to talk to, and just talking out into the ether isn't cutting it anymore. So, hi. You serve a purpose. But yeah, that's like all in all, the decision I'm making here isn't really two decisions I need to make. The nature of Puck, like, is it trying to eat Naomi? Is it one of those things where it's not malicious but an intent, but is it an action? I have to make that decision because it colors how the character is the rest of the story. Point blank, period. And I also have to decide what is the ending? Does she stay with Puck? Does she move on with her life? A better person? I don't know yet. Because I like the idea of a story where she just stays trapped in her own delusions. Because why not? Because why not? Not everything needs to have a traditionally happy ending. The natural current of a story like this would be that she moves on and grows up and is better for it after going through some childhood trauma and all that fun stuff. But, like, does she have to, though? It's a nice place to stay. It's not like she's leaving that many people behind either. Sort of a deal, because it's just her and this rotation of students that she sees every year. And, like, Alex, which is the name of the friend right now. Alex. That name is subject to change, but for right now their name is Alex. Because it's a gender neutral name. Literally is why I picked it. Because I didn't know what the gender of the friend character is gonna be. And this, to me, is important. Not important to the story, but to me it is. But yeah, that's my rambling thoughts. I don't know if you found that entertaining, but you're welcome to tell me what you think as well in the comments. I would very much appreciate some other people's thoughts in this particular situation. I'm gonna write some and I'll get back to you later. Yeah. Okay, so I'm making the executive decision to not write in order in this draft because I'm kind of stuck. In part because this draft is a little bit wonky, to say the least. So what I'm gonna do is instead read the draft 1.5 draft and write continuing from where that draft leaves off. Because that draft leaves off differently than what this one is. And I think that'll be better bless me. Blessing served your purpose. You got me through 4 chapters, which is further than I've got in any draft of this damn story. But, like, no. So, we're gonna color for just description of things so that I can just quickly go through and find where I'm describing something and remember it, because I need consistency. Consistency is important. And then the regular black is just a regular story. Oh, I got 9 pages in. See, this is the thing that has me confused. Because do I include... Okay. So I'm happy I opened this draft because I'm seeing issues that I've been having that I need to have figured out. I don't know whether or not I'm going to include the POV of the imaginary friend, or if I'm gonna have it be like omniscient and you'll see things that Naomi doesn't see, because it's a lot more creepy if I leave those sections out. Like, for example, Naomi goes to sleep, right? And she wakes up not where she fell asleep. All of her shit's in order. The fire is out. Everything's put where she knows she didn't do the previous night. And it freaks her out. And she runs and all that fun stuff. But, I can also just include the what are you doing? Okay. I can also just include this. It's less creepy if I include the sections with the imaginary friend. And I'm uncertain on if I want to do that or not. If I'm being honest. But, for now, I'll write it in for now. I'll write in whatever I'm thinking. And change it as I go along. I think I'll do that. Like, I'll just write it down and get it down, then move on from there. Figure it out later. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, later. Gotta love flying by the seat of our... Ooh, what time is it? Ooh, I gotta go to sleep to go to work. So we're gonna stop here. And then we're gonna come back a later date. For you, it'll be instant. For me, it'll be a full day, if not longer. Later. I know, it's dark as shit, but like, I just edited down the video that I already have because I'm not going to go to sleep before work today. I'm not tired. I had a week off, so my sleep schedule is kind of fucked. But, it is what it is. I just saw how long the video was. That bitch is 25 minutes. I'm cutting it off here. I'll do another update later. Because, 25 minutes is a long video. So... We're just gonna cut her off. We're just gonna cut her off. Thanks for watching. Later.